So, good morning, everyone. Looks like most of you who I can see are in the morning time. We're going to speak about one of the key factors of health, of what determines a healthy person, and that is cleansing, the ability to eliminate wastes from your body. When you see the definition of a healthy person, so many people say, "Oh, I'm healthy," all these things, but what actually defines health? And Ayurveda actually has a very clear definition. And I'll say it to you in a shloka, in a Vedic hymn, and then we can explore it. But basically, the first one is Samadosha. Samadosha is healthy doshas. Okay, healthy doshas, the 5 elements, the different operating aspects of nature. Healthy dosha, Samadosha, Samadhatu means your tissues, your dhatus are healthy. So they're maintained. Really, another, as you may know, I assume everyone here knows who's written, Ayurveda means the science of life, but it actually also, another translation is the science of longevity. And longevity means you are maintaining your tissues throughout life. You are maintaining your lymph, plasma, blood, muscle, bone marrow, reproductive tissue, and fat. When these tissues are maintained in a healthy state, you have health, you have longevity. And longevity starts now. If you're going to have these tissues maintained to your elderly years, when you're 80, 90 years old, you have good muscle, you have good bone, no to minimal degeneration. That is longevity. That is samadhatu. That is healthy tissues. So samadosha, samadhatu, sama agnishta, sama agnishta, sama agni. Sama, as you may have recognized, means healthy or balanced. Sama. The whole Sanskrit is onomatopoeia. The whole Sanskrit language is expressing that sound which nature is intending to make. So the best example of the Sanskrit language being a sound language is heart. The word for heart in Sanskrit is hridaya. Hridaya. Okay? And then the sama. Sama. Balance. Okay? So Samadosha, Samadhatu, Sama Agnishcha. Sama Agnish, Agni, Sama Agni, Sama digestive fire, Sama metabolic fire. When you have healthy metabolism, such a key component. All of you who have learned a bit about Ayurveda knows how important digestion is. And not only just simply digestion, it's the Agni, it's the whole metabolic fire. How do you metabolize any experience in life? Whether it's a food, whether it's a drink, whether it's a pollutant, an environmental pollutant, an electromagnetic field, a stressful situation from someone or something. This is Agni. How good is your Agni? And Agni is in direct opposite to Ama. Ama is the word for indigested food material, any indigested substance. And that is really a key cause for disease when Ama accumulates in the body, because Ama can lodge anywhere in the body. It depends on the person. So, Samadosha, Samadhatu, Sama Agnishcha, Mala Kriya. Mala means waste product, and Kriya means to purify or to flow. And we'll go into that. This is why I brought up the shloka. And then the last part of this definition of a healthy man is prasana atma indriya manaha swastya iti padyade. I'm going to just quickly get the shloka for you and write it. So that fast, and here we go, I'm putting it in the chat. Okay, so that last bit, prasana atma indriya manaha. So prasana means pleasant, blissful. Atma means soul. Indriya means sensory organs, senses, and manaha, mind. Swastya etipadye, swastya means healthy. Etyapadye means this is the definition of a healthy man. To have all these, healthy man, healthy woman, of course, have all these functions. So we're going to go into the Malakriya component, which is so important and also which is not very recognized. And we'll tie in Sama Agni or Sama, as you can see, Sama Agnisha, Sama Agnishta. But the Malakriya, so first is to understand the three main malas in the body. Malas means waste product. Three main waste product is Purisha, stool, Mutra, urine, and Sveda, sweat. These are the three main ways that the body eliminates wastes. You should be having proper elimination of these wastes. When we look at the urine, you should be having good urination. It's no real time, it depends, but maybe every 3 hours approximately, but don't get caught up on the time really. The main thing is with the urination is during the night, there should be no urination, not even once. Definitely if there's twice urinating in the night or above that, then there's something we need to really check out with the kidneys or with the urinary tract or with the nervous system. So we really need to assess that. And with the urination, the key to promoting that, of course, is hydration, sipping hot water, so many herbs as well, kitchen spices we can implement to improve the state of the kidneys. But one very key thing which I'll share now is to not suppress the urge to urinate. Never suppress the urge to urinate. Actually, in Ayurveda, there's 14 natural urges. And when you suppress suppress any of these natural urges, and these are things like sneezing, yawning, sleep. Sleep is a natural urge to suppress. How do people suppress sleep? They force themselves to stay up or they take caffeine. Going to the toilet, whether it's a urine or feces, if you suppress that, those are some of the urges. And ejaculating is a natural urge. Physical exertion, wanting to breathe heavily after exertion. So there's 14 natural urges, and Ayurveda considers if you suppress these natural urges, that is actually a significant cause of disease, because not only in the case of urine and feces, for example, are you eliminating wastes. So you should be eliminating these wastes, but you're holding them in and you're not eliminating it, and it's getting mixed up with other biological tissues and the doshas. So we really want to be not suppressing these urges. Furthermore, when you're suppressing them, it irritates what we call in Ayurveda the Vata dosha, because Vata likes to move downwards and you're suppressing it. So it's kind of pushing back up and it causes nervous system disorders. It can cause headaches. Like headaches can be a cause of suppressing urges. Heart issues, high blood pressure. This is all upward motion of movement of things when it should be going down. This upward motion of movement of things is called udvarta. Udvarta. Ud means upward motion. Varta, vata. So when we suppress these urges, it causes this upward motion of vata. And most people in this world, in society, and for thousands of years, this has been the case that most people have vata imbalances. Vata imbalances are the most common cause of disease. Now, vata is, for those who don't know, the space and air element. Okay, vata is a biological energy in the body, which Ayurveda sees there's 5 elements in the human and as well as the universe: space, air, fire, water, earth. Every single person, every plant, every human, every object, every activity, every time of the day, every season is comprised of these 5 elements. But Ayurveda made it even more simple and I put these 5 elements into 3 doshas: Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So when you understand these elements, when you understand these doshas, you can really simplify medicine and life. Ayurveda, the science of life, you can simplify but at a very root level, it's not like it's also simple, it's not advanced. It's actually at a root level, because everything in life, whether it's a piece of hair or a piece of flesh or a brick, whatever it is, a plant, a herb, a food, it's all coming from the 5 elements. That's the foundation of their form of manifestation. So when we are interfering and learning how to deal with the 5 elements, or 3 doshas, same thing, when we can operate the level of the doshas, we can treat at such a root level, because it's before its manifestation, it's before it's manifested into the final form. So knowing the doshas And I don't usually talk about doshas, but I have been more. And just looking at the chat for everyone who's typed in, and I appreciate who's typed in their level of knowledge of Ayurveda on a scale of 1 to 10. You know, this, you know, you guys know a bit about it. So, and I'm beginning more to teach about the doshas. So, especially my teachers were big on teaching the mothers how to know about doshas so that you could know your children, know how to tell which doshas are imbalanced in the children. And then you can use your intuitive capability to be able to recognize the doshas in a food or a herb, and then be able to apply that therapeutically to your child or whatever is the case. So the doshas, this is so important. So this malakriya, 3 ways, as I said: urine, feces, and sweat. So the sweat is another one which people aren't necessarily doing more of. And this is why right now I'm sitting in the sun, because I'm getting the opportunity while it's there, because we have not a lot of sun in Sydney. And, I've got stuff on today which I won't be able to have full sun. So sweating daily is great, is actually indicated and important. You know, sweating takes malas out. Sweating takes the toxins out, particularly stealth toxins that lodge deep into the tissue, such as heavy metals, which is inevitably we are all exposed to, because even in the organic food, there's heavy metals. And this is what I'm talking about in these lectures of the inevitable toxic load, because even if you're eating organic kale, it could very well have toxins in it from either open coal mine. If it's getting from a farm, there could very well be a coal mine nearby, and the coal dust is flying onto the organic kale. Or, the rain these days the rain itself is full of glyphosate, the pesticide, because there's so much being sprayed into the atmosphere. So sweating is a profound way to get these kind of more deeper, more modern industrial toxins out of the body, and we should be doing that regularly. And all I can say, of course, you all know how to sweat. Some people, it's common to not be able to actually sweat. Your skin physiology has kind of a blockage in the channels, or the shrotas, which we call. It's a type of shrota dushti. Shrota is the word for channel. So many channels in the body. Another word is nadi. You may have heard in yoga, nadi. But the shrota is like the physical channel and subtle channels. There's so many, but when you learn deeper into Ayurvedic anatomy and physiology, you'll learn about the 15 shrotas, and then even as well as that, there's other shrotas. But one of the shrotas is called the Sveda Vaha Shrota. Sveda, sweat, the sweat channel. So is your sweat channel blocked? You can look at that by the skin. If you're not sweating well, give yourself an abhyanga, give yourself an oil massage every day that helps open the channel so that you can excrete the sweat. And that's why usually in Ayurvedic detox and rejuvenation therapies or detox therapies, they'll do abhyanga, oil massage, followed by a sweating treatment, whether you're in a sauna or a steam room with your head sticking out, or you're being rubbed in poultices, hot poultices, or being poured medicated decoctions, hot medicated decoctions over the body to make you sweat. Because after you do abhyanga, you're activating the skin physiology. And abhyanga is so powerful, especially when you're using medicated oils, but even sesame and coconut oil does this. That's why the 2 oils, they're medicated. So abhyanga, massaging the body with oil before your shower, it can go through all your tissues. Remember all those 7 tissues I spoke about? Lymph, blood, muscle, fat, bone marrow, reproductive tissue. Abhyanga doesn't just penetrate all your 7 layers of skin, which it does. It actually penetrates the tissues beneath that. It can reach the bone and the bone marrow. And Abhyanga has so many benefits, like nourishing, but one of the things it does, it detoxifies, because oil is lipophilic. It attaches to fat-soluble toxins and pulls them out. Okay? Oil pulling. Common Ayurvedic practice which is becoming popular, oil pulling. It's called kavala in Ayurveda, swishing oil in the mouth. It's literally pulling toxins. That's what oil does. It's lipophilic. It connects to tissues, connects to fat-soluble toxins and pulls them. So when you're doing abhyanga, you pull them, then you have a hot, whatever it is, even exercise after abhyanga, or stand in the sun, or go in a sauna, as long as your head's protected from the heat. And you sweat it out so much more profoundly. So that's why, if you can, depending on where you live and your schedule, if you can do Abhyanga followed by yoga or in the sun with, while the oil is still on, that is so powerful to detox the body. Do Abhyanga, go do Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. Do many so you sweat. It doesn't have to be at sunrise, doesn't have to be before sunrise. It can be later. As long as the empty stomach and the sun's there, you'll sweat. And this is a regular sweating. Just ask yourself that question: are you sweating regularly? And if not, and another good way to sweat is with the parasympathetic nervous system activated. So parasympathetic is the rest and digest nervous system. We don't want to be going to war when we're exercising. We don't want to be in a state of battle. Our body thinks it's in a battle, that's doing CrossFit or HIIT or all these boot camps, and your body is in such a stress response. It's in a sympathetic nervous system, flight or fight response. You may not think so, but your body thinks it's in a battle. And generally, as a culture, we have our sympathetic nervous system too activated. So one thing is you can relate your amount of exercises to only nasal breathe. If you're breathing through your mouth during exercise, that's too excessive. So we want to just be nasal breathing. And the reason why I say Surya Namaskar or yoga for sweating is because it's a calming parasympathetic practice, yet it's very good for the heart and the cardiovascular health and the all these movements. So that's why saunas are so beneficial, because you're relaxing and you're sweating, or lying in the hot sun on a summer's day, or not even summer, in just the sun. You're sweating, you get sweat dripping. So this is one thing, the sveta. And thirdly is the purisha. Purisha is the feces. That's the third waste product. There's three main waste products. There's more, but those are the three main ones. Ayurveda, there's a shloka I don't know off by heart, but it's the mulam of the physiology. Mulam. Mulam means root. Mula, root. Mulam, Muladhara chakra, the root chakra. But the mulam of the human physiology are three things: doshas, dhatus, the seven dhatus, and the malas, three malas. This is the root of the human physiology. You need to, again, Ayurveda, it's all about the roots, all about the source. Let's intervene with human physiology and human health at the source, because that is where the deeper shifts occur. Okay, root of disease, root of health. So the three malas, we've said mutra, urine, sveda, sweat, and purisha, feces. So you should be having a good bowel movement every single morning before you eat anything and before you drink coffee or tea. So that is the definition of a healthy person when it says malakriya. And, even the Western medicine says constipation is only classified as 3 times a week, only bowel motion, or it's less than 4. If you have 4 bowel motions a week, that's okay. But less than that, then it's constipation. But Ayurveda says no. Every day you should be having bowel motion in the morning, feeling complete. And there's so many factors to promote that, which I will share now just briefly, because I want to get onto some cleanses you can be doing yourself. Because why I'm bringing this up is, before we get to the cleanses, it's so common that people are prematurely cleansing, or they're cleansing in a rough way. Their body we need to open and optimize the detoxification pathways before we even think about cleansing. How can you take a cleanse which is going to force your body to expel products, which can be good, but if the detox pathways are blocked, if you're not having a good bowel motion every day, if you're not sweating and getting the urine out in a healthy manner, we need to optimize our shrotas, our channels, before we go do it. Like today, I'm going to share with you using castor oil, to cause a purge through the bowels. But before that, we really want to get with the herbs, with the food and the kitchen spices, use those to support our detoxification pathways, to open up before doing something like that. So working towards having good bowel motion every day. And things you can do for that is, sleep is a huge factor. If you have the good sleep, because the main thing that happens in sleep is your body detoxifies and repairs the liver. So when you're sleeping well before 10 p.m., okay, that's key, before 10 p.m., waking up with the sunrise, that promotes it. Also waking up before sunrise or with sunrise, because before that is the Vata time of the day. Vata, air and space element, movement, everything moves much easier. So including the waste products. After sunrise is kapha, sluggishness, heaviness. That's why the more you sleep in the day, the more sluggish you will feel. But if you get up before sunrise or with the sunrise, you get that vata energy, that lightness of being, that creativity, that clarity, that stays with you. We capture that vata energy, that air and space. But after sunrise, more kapha, more fatigue, heaviness, sluggishness. That compounds. So wake up before sunrise or with sunrise, naturally, by the way. You can use alarms and things if you want to help yourself discipline into it, but you should be just getting up naturally. That Samadosha in that definition of perfect health, included in Samadosha is when you go to sleep, you fall asleep straight away. And when you wake up, you basically jump out of bed. That's Samadosha. That's Samadoshas in regards to the sleep, how the dosha's putting you to bed and waking you up in the morning. Because the doshas are the main biological energies in the body that do these things, like waking you up and going to sleep easily. So when you do that, there's another thing that promotes good bowel motion. And another thing, of course, is the diet, sipping hot water. Sipping hot water is very effective. And good fiber. Light dinner is very important, so your body can actually move stuff to the elimination channels rather than backlog of digesting food. So light dinner is so important for that, good bowel motion. Early dinner. And in the morning, if you still need extra help, wake up, as I said, meditation. Some people, they meditate in the morning and automatically they'll get it. Even during the meditation, they'll have the urge to go to the toilet. That's because meditation is very good at vata anulomana. We talked about upward motion of vata, which we don't want, which is udvata, but downward motion of vata is called vata anulomana. Anulomana means downward motion of vata. So when you meditate, your mind pacifies, you calm, everything goes down and settle. This is balanced vata. This is why meditation, so many people report that. So that's another thing. And then still, if it's not coming complete, sip hot water in the morning, plain hot water, not with lemon, just plain. Even in the squat asana, while you're doing the squat asana, just sit in the squat and sip hot water. You can also do self-abhyanga. That will help with the vata anulomana. And then, in addition to that, we should really be taking herbs every day, especially, Shoda Navati, very good purification herb, should be taken before dinner every night. And if you can't get Shoda Navati, just get Triphala. Triphala is a very common Ayurvedic herbal formula. 3 fruits, Triphala, 3 fruits. And Shoda Navati's main ingredient is Triphala, but Shoda Navati has more than Triphala. It's a more complex formula. So taking, it's important to have herbs. Last night I did a lecture and someone asked about, should we be taking herbs every day? I mean, what's the deal with herbs? Can't we get it from food? And actually, we are in such a toxic environment, whether it's environmental toxins or industrial toxins or stresses. We know more stress than ever. We've got lights on like we never used to have lights on it after sunset, and all these things. So these are this is why we need these. My friend Prashanti, who I'm going to be releasing a podcast for, he's a master herbalist. He calls it our plant allies. Our plant allies. Like these herbs in Ayurveda are full herbs. They're whole herbs. It's not an extract. It's not a supplement. It's not a vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, magnesium, curcumin extract. It's a herb. It's like eating food. That's why anyone can take it alongside their Western medication, alongside their chemotherapy, alongside their Chinese herbs, alongside their supplements, their functional medical doctor gave them. Whatever it is, you can take. It's like eating food. And some of them, like Triphala, unless you have strong diarrhea, you can take for life. Even diarrhea, you should be taking Triphala in a certain method, because Triphala helps So many more things than just the colon. It's very good for the eyes. It's very good for the skin and the inflammation all over the body and eliminating toxins out through all the channels, not just the bowels. So taking, depending on you, you can anywhere between 2 to 4 grams of Triphala before dinner. And if you want to take it to the next level, you take the Shodanavati. I'm just typing in, someone asked me to write these names in the chat. So Triphala and Shodanavati. Main ingredient Shodanavati is Triphala. More complex synergy of herbs. So these are the things. This is for good bowel motion, and we should be having this daily. So when you kind of get this and you're feeling good and your digestion's good, then we can start, looking at cleanses and what goes hand in hand with cleanses are fasts, like fasting a certain way, because as a culture, generally we eat too much. We've got a pantry and where we can just snack on every half hour, or you know, coffee shops on every corner, and we're just constantly having nuts or some sultanas or some organic chocolate or a coffee, quick injections of stimulants to give us energy, because we don't have the ability to burn our own fuel. Our own fuel in our body, we have fat reserves, fat metabolism. When we can learn to burn our fat as fuel, that is so much more sustainable for our energy levels. When we're talking energy, not just physical energy, like, oh, I'm feeling fatigued. Oh, that's why I'm having chocolate every half an hour, but it's organic chocolate. And what about nuts? But nuts are healthy. No, you're relying on these foods. Your brain knows the menu. I'll just get a quick glucose hit from nuts and dates and sultanas. So when this is the case, which is so common, and I experienced it when I was studying Ayurveda, I was studying so long when I was doing Ayurvedic college, hours a day, and just at the computer studying, and like I just had nuts and sultanas every 45 minutes because my teacher said nuts and sultanas are healthy. It's great because the sultana, when you mix with the nut, provides some lubrication, because the nut is typically heavy and hard to digest, the almond. But when you peel the almond, then it's even more, and soak the almond. And then mix it with sultanas, you have a lubricating quality, which allows you to digest the almond much easier. So I thought, great. However, I was using that as energy. I was not able to use my own energy. And when you begin to shift your metabolism to use your own energy, that is much more sustainable for your energy and for your mood. Your mood. The side effect of that is like losing weight. And if you need to lose weight, you'll lose weight. But if you need to put on weight, it will help you build that, because your metabolism will be able to digest and absorb the nourishment and nutrients. So the way to activate fat metabolism and to get out of this habit of sugar burning is, one, you need to reduce the snacks. How you reduce the snacks? You have 3 meals a day where you are relaxed. It's not just about what you eat, it's about how you eat. Relax, make eating like a ritual. Don't, snack don't taste the food while you're eating. Just wait until you sit down in a relaxed manner. If you have a hyper anxious nervous system or hyperstimulated nervous system or eating disorder, stop, take some deep breaths. If you're in the middle of work, I used to work so much treating back-to-back patients, and then I would only have a limited amount of time to cook my food and eat it. So in between patients, I would so not in between patients, but I had my lunch break. I was so rushing to cook, but then I had to stop when it was time to eat. I was in this fight or flight response. It's like, stop, change the nervous system to a sympathetic fight or flight response to a parasympathetic rest and digest state before you eat. That's so important. Even if you're eating the best organic Ayurvedic food, like I was, if you're eating it on the bus or in a stressed manner, it's not going to give you nourishment and nutrient. It's going to turn to undigested food material, cause for many diseases. So we really need to look at how we're eating. And when you're eating that way, like a ritual, you will be nourished. You'll be sustained. You won't need that snack as much. And there's so many other factors to do that, like looking at the state of the nervous system. Are you meditating twice a day? Are you hydrated? A lot of the time when you want something to eat, you're just dehydrated because your brain has this malfunction where it just associates hydration with putting stuff in your mouth. and sipping hot water throughout the day. When next time you need a snack, just sip hot water. It'll probably take care of it. And if the cravings are very strong, sugar cravings, chocolate cravings, sniff oil up your nose with the nasika, the Ayurvedic practice of nasya, and a daily routine to be sniffing oil up the nose, because we need to be regularly lubricating our brain. And the way we do that is by sniffing oil up the nose. It's Ayurveda says every day you should shower. Okay, everyone does that here. They bathe their bodies. Not only that, you should bathe in your bodies, you should be putting oil on your body, like I spoke about earlier, self-abhyanga. Putting oil on your body every day, because you need to lubricate. You need to feed the microbiome that lives on your skin. You need to move the blood, the lymph. And most noticeably, you need to pacify your nervous system. Your skin has more nerve endings than anything. So, especially if you feel anxious or can't sleep well, a bit stressed, put oil on your body before your shower and give yourself a massage. And the way you can learn that is go to my website and type in self-massage and download a poster. And it will teach you how to do that. Simple. If you're bathing every day, you should be doing this every day. You need to link bathing with oil application, even if it's a quick version, which can take less than 1 minute. We need to get in that habit of lubricating. So lubricating our body and putting oil, because dryness is what causes degeneration, whether it's brain degeneration, bone degeneration, muscle degeneration, any tissue. And that's why sniffing oil up the nose prevents the brain from degenerating. It prevents the Alzheimer's, dementia, which is very easily preventable, very, very easily preventable, not as easy to treat. And we have waves of Alzheimer's coming, tsunamis, they say. You know it because it's now become normal for your mother, for your grandmother to go into the old age home with dementia. Oh, it's just, yeah, it's what happens when they get 80 years old. No. Everyone right now in this Zoom call, and you listening, when you're listening to the recording, you should have the same brain function, same cognitive function than you do right now than when you're 90 years old. That's natural. That's what Ayurveda said. So this is the thing with lubrication, so important. And then internal lubrication with ghee, using ghee as your primary cooking oil. Then hydration. And most people are dehydrated, so sipping good quality water, sipping hot water, spring water. So these are the things. And that's the fat metabolism. Now I'm going to just share with you a short cleanse, and then we'll leave it to questions. But once you have got all these, systems optimized more, you can do a little cleanse. So the thing with cleansing, it's very linked to fasting, is that it should be regular. Not like you have to do it every week or anything, but you need to be in a routine. Your whole biology is on clock. It's on a clock. Every organ, every cell runs on a clock. So if you're going to be fasting, trying to fast here and there, or try intermittently fast, maybe I'm going to miss breakfast or dinner. We need to do it in a rhythmic way. So key to be rhythmic. And, fasting is a really big topic. And in the upcoming nutrition course, we've got a whole segment on fasting, quite a large segment, because there's so many ways you can fast. It depends on you, right? And then you can work, like if you've never fasted before, and fasting could look like once a month, once a fortnight, once a week, once a year, once every 3 months, but regular. Like for me, and the ideal, what Ayurveda recommends is fast once a week. Once a week, we should give our digestion a rest. And that, but don't go there if you can't be metabolically comfortable with that. When you're fasting, whether it's an intermittent fasting or like a full fast once a week, which can, by the way, entail so many different things, so many different diets. Doesn't mean no food, doesn't mean only water. There's so many different levels and entry points into the way you fast. Fruits only, and fluids only, and milk integrated, and herbs integrated into it. There's so many ways. That's what we teach in the course, so that you can, and then you enter, and then you can start to, make less and eat less. So, but have to be metabolically comfortable.
For me, who fasts once a week, every Tuesday, it's a rhythm. My body knows it. It comes to Tuesday, it's like a piece of cake. It just knows it. My physiology knows it's happening. And even once a year or even Ramadan for the Muslim culture, or Yom Kippur for the Jewish culture once a year, or Shivaratri for the Hindus, they'll definitely fast once. It's that even once a year, the physiology knows it. So, and then there's the mental component. There's so many things, but you know, generally as a culture, we eat too much, and then there's the 3 meals a day goes down to 2 meals. You know, before you get into that, it's first intermittent fasting, also daily, how much you're eating. So many different things. And with the cleanse, you know, I'll share with you a cleanse because this is what this call is about also, and that is when you have a day off. It's a purge. It's a purge with castor oil. So when you have a day off of the week, you can wake up at around 3:30 to 4 a.m. and take castor oil, depending on your dose, depending on you, it's from anywhere between 10 to 30 milliliters. And you need to wake up at 3:30 to 4. So wake up, brush your teeth, scrape your tongue. Don't eat or drink anything that morning. Don't have water. You can brush your teeth and scrape your tongue. Don't take any herbs if you take herbs at that time. There's some special herbs that we have which we take daily. And wash your face with cold water and take that amount of castor oil, depending on you. And this we'll talk about later. How do you know your dose? Because that's important. And if you have Shodhanavati, add 5 crushed Shodhanavati onto that big spoon or shot or whatever it is of castor oil. You know, I usually take 3 tablespoons, just 1, 2, 3, whatever your dose is. That's my dose. And then don't go back to sleep. You can meditate and do your program, whatever it is, and rest, but don't lie down horizontally as much, ideally. And you don't want to shower. You don't want to do abhyanga. You just want to rest. And then once you get your first bowel motion, then you can start sipping hot water. Then you can start. So then sip, and then you can sip as much as you want. And especially every time you know, ideally, if this is working, you'll be having multiple bowel motions that day. And for different people, they can come at different times. Sometimes they might come in the morning, early. Some people might get delayed and when you start getting the bowel motions, you know, mid-morning, maybe even around lunchtime. Some people don't even get them at all. And why? Because the detoxification pathways weren't prepared and open, or they didn't take the right dose. Castor oil kind of creeps up on you. It's a bit misguiding. It's a bit sometimes hard to navigate. But that being said, if that happens, it's not a bad thing. Don't worry. So this is what you do, and you'll start purging, and you want to purge until liquid comes. So first will come your regular bowel motion, and then you keep purging, bowel motion, and it will get thinner and thinner. It will become more liquid, and then once it's fully liquid, then you can, you know, maybe eat something. Now, you don't want to eat anything. If you really need to eat something, firstly, you can have some hot milk, cow's milk, with some ghee. And then if you really still want, you can have kanji. Kanji is a rice gruel. It's a rice gruel. It's basically rice soup. You can see the recipe on my website. And the idea is to, you know, really wait till we're finished. And then maybe after sunset time, once the cleanse has been good, you can eat a light food like khichdi or a nice dinner. So I just want to say this is called purging, called Virachana in Ayurveda. It's mainly for the Pitta dosha, for those who are feeling inflamed or hot or skin conditions or anger. It's good for all doshas, but it's not good for everyone. You know, for the elderly, it's not so good. And you know, always check. Please read on my website the Vital Short Home Cleanse. That has more details about this cleanse. It's called on that cleanse. It's called the Final Flush. That's a whole cleanse. It's like a 5-day cleanse. You don't even have to do that whole 5-day cleanse. You can just go straight to the final flush if you would like. If you want that flush to like have more of a detoxifying effect, because the 5 days before that, the 4 days before that, you would have pulled the toxins to the gastrointestinal tract before flushing it. You can do that if you like. But this is just a thing to regularly do, and as much as you want. It can be once every 3 months, 4 months, once every 6 months, once a week if needed, whatever it is, and you can try it. But please read the Vital Short-Term Cleanse, because there's many more things that need to be said which I haven't said. Gave me the gist of it, and this is a good thing to do. I'm just going to quickly talk about, very briefly, to detoxify the vaccine if you were to get it, because that's what I said I would. The main thing is the herbs the herbs to nourish and build certain herbs like shmiti, and actually quite some precious herbs you need, like gold basma, gold ash, to add to pastes. This is what, my teachers have recommended for the post-vaccine if someone is to get it, because we just really need to strengthen the intelligence of the body. Because know that the body's intelligent, more intelligent than any vaccine and any virus. It can do anything. So we just need to really enhance that intelligence. There's certain herbs in Ayurveda that enliven the memory of cellular intelligence. And this is not just for a vaccine, this is for any adverse, burden that the body encounters with. So it could be a cancer. It could be, this real, like with autoimmune condition, especially, like it's altered the intelligence of the body. The body thinks it's something. So this is autoimmune, and this vaccine is very related because it's all about triggering the immune system, but starts attacking itself, etc. So we need to give mainly the herbs, and not only the herbs, but all Ayurveda recommendations, especially the meditation, to really remind the intelligence of the body. And that's why another thing for the vaccine is meditate a lot. You can do some fasting that day of the vaccine, fast, and also after you can do this cleanse, not straight after, maybe a few days after, whenever you're feeling good. That being said, I don't advise you get, I'm not advising you get the vaccine, I'm advising you don't get the vaccine. There's so many more things to talk about, but if you were to get it, but also just know that we're so early stages. It's one big clinical trial, and a lot of the reason why people are getting the vaccine is because they think they need it to travel or to do all these things. Okay, I don't know all around the world, maybe the case in some places, but like yesterday I had a patient whose mother, she was worried, and she asked me, the mother wants to get it to go to overseas, and she actually found that like you don't actually need that yet. So all I can say is just wait. We don't want to be part of the clinical trial. Let's just see what happens. Yes, enough of that. So this is with the cleansing. Yeah, I hope that helps. As you may know, we've got a course on Ayurvedic nutrition coming up this month on the 26th of May. It's starting. However, you can do it anytime you want. You get this course for life. It's like professionally recorded video. It's like not just me speaking. It's beautiful videos to show you things, and it's not so much recipes and ingredients and what to eat and not what to eat. That's a bit, but it's mainly about learning how to come across a food, a substance, a herb, and identify the doshas in it. Okay, and we don't even have to say doshas. It's the qualities, and then know, okay, that's the qualities. What's the qualities of a disease? What's the qualities of my daughter? What's the qualities of my friend? My patient, my client. And then learning how to therapeutically apply a substance like a food or a herb to that person. For example, last night I was doing a lecture in Sydney, and it was a community event, and after they had kombucha. So it was nice because it was like a conscious event. They didn't want to have drinks, alcohol. So at the end said, we'll have a nice group meditation, and we'll give a little talk, and then we'll have some drinks and chew, some kombucha. And they asked me, what about kombucha? What's the Ayurvedic view? And I said, well, look at the qualities of kombucha. And this is a very easy example. It's gas. It's carbonated. Okay, what's gas? Vata is gas. If you have gas in your tummy, you feel bloating, gas. Okay, like increases like. That's not going to help your gas. Right? If you have gas, you need something pungent and sharp. What foods are sharp? There's an amazing spice called asafoetida. You may know it, also known as hing, that will pierce through the gas, the bloating of the person. And Or you have eczema, skin inflammation. You need to pacify that. So you give the thin lassi, like the thin buttermilk, is so cooling and reduces that inflammation. But if you were to give chili or sesame or mustard, that's heating and can spark up that inflammation. So this is learning the qualities and substances of the food. Okay. Any questions? I would love to hear from you. Feel free to unmute yourself. And I'll check the chat. I've tried self-massage before shower, but find my shower recess gets really oily, dirty. Yeah, definitely that can happen. For that, you know, I personally am very fortunate to live by the beach, so I just go straight to the beach every morning to wash my oil off. But what people do is, and I've had the problem as well in my clinics, there's a few things. One, you can, if you want, wipe yourself off with paper towels before showering. And another thing, which I personally think is just, you know, every 6 months, you may just need to get the plumber to use this snake. A snake is like just a snake which goes down the drain and clears it. You know, I don't think those drainers, those things you can put down the drain, clears it. Maybe there is, but I personally think just clear the drain every now and then. That's fine. Okay, what's the significance of castor oil as opposed to other oils? Castor oil is a specific, has a laxative effect. It kind of squeezes the digestive tract to push things out. So it is a laxative itself. Not a very nice tasting one, but yes, if you can get the castor oil warm as well, that's good. But so, you know, some in the winter, if you're I don't assume you'll warm yours, but if you have a heater or something, maybe you can leave it there. But at least when it's in your mouth, just try like, you know, just hold it for a bit at a time and you'll warm it a bit and then swallow it. Because, you know, always these things, it's better to be warm. Ideally, it should be warmer. Oh, Joseph is saying, yeah, I want to try that. Coca-Cola or vinegar cleans the oil in the shower. I've seen Coca-Cola do some very good things. So yes. And sipping hot water is such an important cleansing practice to do every day. It's not about how much water you drink, it's about how much you sip. You know, when you sip hot water, like when you wash grease off dirty dishes, the same thing happens with your intestines, your channels, and your joints. When you're sipping hot water frequently, the hotter the better. And you'll build your tolerance to be able to sip hot water. Just frequently throughout the day, like every 15 to 20 minutes, have a sip, a few sips. That will melt the toxins and flush it. And it opens the channels, it opens the lymph and the blood. And the lymph is what carries all these toxins to the toilet, to the elimination channels, to then go to the toilet. So sipping hot water is such a profound purification technique. Even for headaches, you know, just sip hot water, it opens the channels in the brain so that that pressure is released. Then, you know, kitchen spices is so important to really implement, because that's when you start using kitchen spices, you can really start using food as medicine. You know, when we talk about ama, that undigested food material, or the vata, the air and space, when it's in the joints, you know, certain foods like spices, like you may have heard of ajwain seeds. Probably haven't heard of it. Ajwain, AJWAIN. It's like a type of celery seed, which is so good at getting the vata out of the joints. You know, if you're having those joints which keep cracking and, you know, popping in a gas way, so that means they'll crack once. You know, so like every morning you can click your back, but then when you do it again, it doesn't click. That's a gas in the joint. Okay, but if you're every time you move your wrist, click, 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 that's not good. That's bones rubbing together. It just clicks once, the gas. So if you have that, you know, these ajwain seeds are really good to get the vata out of the joints. And frying them in ghee and adding them to your food, along with other spices and so many good things. You know, turmeric cleans the blood so well. So any skin conditions, acne, psoriasis, or any heart conditions, you know, loss of not feeling like very conscious means on a physical level, like having a bit of deviated, feeling like a bit stoned. You know, some people feel this with the blood disorders. So really turmeric, everyone should be eating turmeric every day. Absolutely. One of the best herbs in Ayurveda. And it's such a simple kitchen spice. Using turmeric powder in your food. Hi, Dylan. I find when sipping hot water, I feel even more thirsty. So, Ali, this can happen when you start sipping hot water because it's funny you said that because it happens to some people. And this is why I've written about it because what happens is your body is like finally getting the hydration that it's been craving. Most people are dehydrated. And some people, when they start sipping hot water as a practice, their body just wants more and more and more. Like, give me, give me, give me. Usually that lasts, say, 2 weeks. Some people can last longer, even up to 3 months or so. But it will definitely go and you will be never wanting to drink cold water again. You'll love your hot water. My doctor said not to eat ghee because of the animal fats. Uh, Mary, please listen to my podcast on the great cholesterol myth. This is the great myth of fats and telling you what fats to eat. And then in the course also we go into this in the nutrition course. But the biggest myth in medical history is to stay away from saturated fats because it causes heart disease. It's not be further from the truth because these animal fats are so good for the heart. They're so good for the, blood circulation and for the channels. So, we really need to become informed. And, this man who I interviewed, Dr. Johnny Bowden, he has these resources which you can send to the doctors. But it really is as I said, the biggest medical myth in medical history because it is such a dogma. It's so ingrained in doctors that fats are bad for you. And it's not about that. And also the whole cholesterol tests are outdated. You need to be knowing what to test for. There's no such thing as LDL is bad or LDL is good. It's much more than that. It's not just LDL, HDL with cholesterol. It's about the cholesterol particle itself. What's the size of it? Is it oxidized? And you don't get that from the regular test. So definitely don't be diagnosing or accepting the diagnosis of a cholesterol imbalance or cholesterol issues just from your regular blood test. And don't, especially not take statins just because of that. I'm not saying you don't have a cholesterol imbalance or you shouldn't take those medications. I'm just saying you need to look at more parameters than just a standard cholesterol test and, get educated yourself, become empowered yourself. This is what I'm about, learning how to navigate yourself. Definitely, if you find a great doctor that you trust, particularly an Ayurvedic practitioner or physician, surrender to them and do what they say. That's great. When you can find someone like that, you can surrender. You don't even have to think about your health. However, you should also know about yourself. But yes, I hope that helps Mary and have a listen. And just it's just so pervasive that, I'm not like saying it's not their fault or anything. But sometimes there comes a time when people need to change doctors because they don't have an open mind. And you'll see the progressive doctors, like I assume your doctor is maybe, a bit on the elder side or whatever it is, but you'll see the progressive doctors who are actually reading science, new science. The science is so flawed with cholesterol. Anyway, podcast for full overview on that. Any other questions before we end on anything?
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you hear me? This is Erica.
Hi, Eric.
I have a question about Triphala because I have Triphala in a powder form. And on it says that I can use maybe a teaspoon in hot water and drink it like a tea, but I wouldn't necessarily consume the actual powder. But I have had it in capsules before. So I'm just wondering what the application is. And if you were using it for your eyes, does it naturally just help your eyes, or is there a certain application for your eyes?
Beautiful question, Erica. I'm glad you asked because I did not mention that. Yes, a good way to take it is with hot water before dinner. So yes, you can take a teaspoon or even half a teaspoon, depending on your bowel motions. Predominantly, if it's getting too loose, then cut back. And internally taking it will help with the eyes. However, you can also use it as an eye wash by simply boiling water the night before, adding a teaspoon of Triphala in it, mixing it, and in the morning, when that water is obviously room temperature, you can just wash your eyes with that. And there's even, we have a medicated ghee called Netra ghee. Netra means eye. So it's a medicated ghee for the eyes, with Triphala as the main ingredient, and other herbs cooked into the ghee, which you use as eye drops. And that specifically cleanses the eyes and also prevents them from degenerating, because that macular degeneration is happening from dryness, dry eyes, so common. So yeah, great. You have Triphala, and continue to take it.
Thank you.
Josephine's asking, difference using fresh turmeric over powder. Powder is better because predominantly you should be taking powdered turmeric because it is purified and it's a more, it's not in as much of a raw state. So powdered turmeric. Get good quality turmeric. For those in Australia, and I believe it's in the UK and maybe all over the world, see Herbies. Herbies, 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 and that is the best spices, because actually a lot of the spice industry can be adulterated, especially when you're buying powders. You don't know what they are. So if you're buying powdered cumin seeds, it's probably cumin seeds with all the twigs and stuff that was in there because they were too lazy and wanted to make more money to just get the seeds. So that's why either buy the seeds or get from a good source. And we did a whole podcast episode on the spice industry with the owner of Herbies, who is not only the most passionate herb man that I know of spices, but he's so knowledgeable and has so much experience. He's such a beautiful man. It's like a little blissful man, and it's so fun to listen to. So my website is vitalveda.com.au. I'll type it in the chat. This is the last of my free webinars for now. The herbs recommended post-vaccine is Shmiti plus Swana Basma and Shodanavati and many other things. Yeah, it's just so hard now. Herbs shortages all around the world with what's going on with India. But yeah, if there's so many other things you can do, which I recommend you can consult me with. You can book online on the website, online consultations. But specific for you, because it's really just enhancing your intelligence to heal itself, and however that works for you. So thank you, everyone. This is the last of the lecture. The next we will be doing is starting May 26th, but you can start anytime you like. The reason why we're starting it as an intake is because I will be doing a live Q&A in the middle of the course, so that you can, answer the first question, the first half of the nutrition course, and then at the end. I think the Q&A will be something like June, July, and then maybe later than that. We will see. So it's a beautiful course. You do it yourself anytime you want. You get it for life. So you can see it on the website. Okay. Thank you everyone so much for joining. And sign up to the newsletter. We'll announce more of these talks in the future. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.